on the side of Fnatic.
Everything on a knife edge. Misfits have to work out how to come back from the mental devastation that happened in the last game, but we're going to get more thoughts on that draft. Dracos is standing by with Whippo.
You must follow.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Not
30 seconds until minions spawn.
A lot of respect here for Whippo. Top laner, bot laner, coach as well. Like, the man can do everything right now. But what he said is what we just highlighted in the champ select. Like, it's not about bot and top lane here. It's just mid lane focus with this LeBlanc pick coming in from Caps. And if he gets ahead, it becomes so difficult for Misfits to do anything around the lane. But I'm really also looking at Max Law. This is not a pick we see often in Europe. Played a lot though, especially over in the LPL. We've actually seen it quite a bit. So it's not a weird pick in the current meta.
No, but it's pretty strong in terms of early skirmishing, and he can unload some pretty devastating ganks. But as you rightly said, it's going to be a lot around the mid lane. We've also got to think about the lanes, because in top, Sion versus Maokai, it's a little more even in terms of wave clear, but often you would expect the Sion to have the push, as he often does against many tanks. And similarly to last game, Hansama and Mickey, maybe not as aggressive as they were before.
Those two drop downs, they're definitely not the same. 10 titles on one side to 0 on the other. Obviously, Fnatic have been around forever.
15 matches to 5 on the other side as well.
Fnatic was obviously here in the very first LCS season in 2013, and Misfits only been here for a couple of years.
It is for the players though, so it does speak to the experience of the players. Sankux and Mickey obviously got to the finals with Splice. Hansama, Maxwell, and Alfari came here with Misfits in summer of last year, where they came through the semis, beating Fnatic 3-1. And were the team that really surprised everyone last year.
Well, they're looking to do it again here in today's best of 5. Early game doesn't look too exciting for the time being. We're seeing a lot of vision invested towards the top side of the map from Misfits, whereas Fnatic have gained control over the bottom river. Mickey and Hansama, they're already looking to get a bit of deep vision, give more information to Maxlaw, and now Maxlaw will know, okay, Broxah has started towards bot, he's heading up towards his red, and Alfari can now have that awareness of a potential challenge.
And Caps right here with the Materializer on his side. Trying to respect some of the early push that can happen, but of course will also be a huge benefit later when it comes to him actually getting push on his side. And that's kind of the thing with this LeBlanc here. Once again, if you get ahead on the champion, you're also one of the best mid laners that can go into side and just keep creating picks.
For sure. Yep.
That mobility over walls is so hard to match for Lulu, who has to run around everything.
Senko is very much here to facilitate his bot lane, to facilitate Hansama on that Tristana. Once again, it feels like Misfits have put a lot of the eggs in the Hansama basket. Maxwell here to try and get them through the early game, get them to a point where that Tristana is ahead. Whether they can do that, or whether Fnatic will be able to stymie them, is the big question early on in this game.
And also, state of Hansama. Last game, everything was ready. They were winning that fight until he tried. He acted on instinct. He said, there's a Vayne on the side, I need to jump and kill her. And then he was next to a wall, and Caps smacked him into it and won the game for Fnatic. And that's obviously tough for a very young AD carry, but Hansama right now, back on the Tristana, stole it away once again.
I thought he was going to miss that CS. Manages to get them all.
There you go, gets it.
So, 4 minutes in, and we don't have 8 kills.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, isn't it?
But it's kind of expected compared to what we saw last game as well. A little bit less bloodthirsty from both sides. Xin Zhao, if he is going to gank anywhere, I feel like he doesn't actually have to gank. He just needs to be ready for where Broxah is going to gank and then remember to counter gank. Because, Deficio, you talked about it in the draft. The thing about Lulu is she's very good at empowering champions, and it's surprising how much assisting damage that she can provide and how much damage she can mitigate in the early levels with things like polymorph, the shielding, and the amount of damage output that she has with her Q as well. So Caps and Broxah will have to respect it, and with the amount of skill shots that Caps does have, if he misses anything, it becomes very easy for Misfits to win that 2v2.
So as Alfari trading up here in the top lane, Alfari with A lot of damage down onto Soaz. Not going to be able to chase him all the way in. But
Look
with
at
the minions
Maxwell, though.
coming in, Maxwell on his way up. You can see Caps reacting to this as well. Positioned up towards the top side river. Maxwell will get spotted out on a Ghost Horror. So for the moment, Fnatic will have full awareness of where Maxwell is.
And one of the reasons we also get a bit of a slower game here is Misfits are obviously more into late game. Quick trade, but Mickey is ready.
Puts down the shield, unbreakable. Hylissang there as well, doing a lot of damage to Hansama. The Ignite comes out as well. One last auto isn't going to be enough. Caps is on his way down. Hansama has the heal and flash. Caps, flash in, Ignite straight away as well. The heal's not going to be enough. Hansama down. And that is exactly what you want to see if you're a Fnatic fan.
Yeah, by using the flash, you just give him no chance to survive. They even get Senkooks away here, but it's a TP behind. It's from Alfari.
Level coming in. Hylissang flashes across the wall. Caps jumps away as well. Reckless now. The one they'll try and focus down. TP coming in from Soaz. Wants to help out his AD carry. Decimating Smash connects. Mickey on the front line. Twisted advance away from Soaz. Caps and Hylissang coming back down to join their team. Brock's on his way as well. Misfits do not want to overstep here. Maybe Alfari has done just that. There's Broxer with the pillar. Disengages the fight for Fnatic.
Oh, he even got over with the Hex Flash right there. Everyone is alive for now. Fnatic get the first blood. Caps once again not giving any chance over to Hansama by simply flash distortion onto him.
And it was a very quick roam too. Was forced to burn everything, but he ends up securing the kill. Not only does it put Hansama a little bit behind, but it gets Caps ahead, which is the big win condition for Fnatic. We look back at his performance throughout this series, and he has been integral to the wins of Fnatic, especially when we think back to that last game on the Vayne. And now on the LeBlanc, he has to be the big carry once again as he looks, as Misfits look for a potential dive down ball.
Oh, very good ward here, spotting Maxwell and Alfari moving around. They will just go for the turret. Senkooks was moving down as well. Soaz is not near the top tier 1, so just a lot of damage here from Misfits with the Tristana as well. The wave is still fairly healthy and actually go for some kills.
Unstoppable onslaught used. Hylissang's going to get the knockback. He's going to try and get underneath this tower. Caps is on his way. Level 6, jumping in. Hansama has to flash away. Hylissang low. He's down. Misfits get a kill in the bottom lane.
Now we see Misfits grouped up as 5. Soaz doesn't have teleport, and Brox is hanging off from the flank. They're waiting for the minion wave to hit the tower before they look to secure it.
Really good for Misfits here if they can take down this tower as well. Only 7 minutes in, they'll get first tower blood. Senkooks standing in the way, still has the wild growth. The Misfits, after losing out that fight earlier on, you thought maybe the early game wouldn't go their way, but they get first tower in the bottom lane.
I really respect the play, just staying, knowing, okay, if they show up to try and kill this wave, we can just engage onto them. Great play overall from Alfari as well. Caps is sitting and hoping someone will walk by the brush over there, and they're still fighting for blue. Will they actually go for Mickey, maybe?
Boy, resets.
Yeah, blue resets.
I don't know how long they can overextend here. Soaz is just free-farming the top side Mickey.
Chains lands Mickey. Keeps himself safe for the moment.
So, Misfits, they secure themselves a kill, they secure first tower. Soaz will get ahead a lot in terms of farm and experience, as Alfari spent so much time hanging around the rest of his team, but they've tried to invest more gold into their AD carry, who now comes back to lane with a BF sword, and is now in a better position to carry.
Yeah, and that's the win condition. Get Hansama ahead. You're putting all your focus on him. This is the first trade that happens. Mickey gets to block all the damage, so Hansama jumps out, and Caps obviously comes down, and it's the play we mentioned where by him actually flashing in, he doesn't really allow Hansama and Mickey to do anything to stay alive, because with the Ignite he will just die.
And even through the exhaust as well, it was just too much damage. And this is where the bot lane dive happens, where we see the ultimate come out from Alfari, but Hylissang buys time. Unfortunately, he's not level 6, so he can only soak up so much damage. You'd think that Hansama was going to lose his life, but really good positioning from Mickey mitigates a lot of the bursts from Caps, and they end up finding themselves a kill.
And now Soaz will be able to pretty easily trade into Alfari on the top side. As you say, has that experience and CS lead, about 25 farm ahead. But it's a very even game between these two teams.
It's another game also now where Hansama in terms of first items are just ahead of Reckless, and that's something Misfits can use. If they get the push on the bottom side, it gives them the Drake. It will eventually give them room to go towards the mid turret, or once Rift Hells spawn, they can push out bot and then swap to top side and try and get another objective, as long as Broxy can't take it instantly. So it's still really in Misfits' favor here to try and snowball the game, because we know Sib is going to be slow. Caps, however, the fact he got that first kill, he's up 10 CS, that's kind of the difference and the problem. It's not a Vayne that's useless for like 25 minutes. It's actually LeBlanc that can start taking people down.
Yeah, about 600 gold ahead of his lane opponent as well. Senkooks struggling a little bit on the Lulu, but he is much more a facilitator than a damage dealer in this game. Once again, we see Misfits keeping their bottom lane down towards the bottom lane, pushing for that second tier tower, not lane swapping, as we've seen many teams do in the past.
I'm a little concerned with the Xin Zhao pick. I think that in terms of early game trading and dueling and generating early pressure, he's really strong. But as we've seen, Misfits have only really been able to build an advantage towards the bot side of the map. And he doesn't have that many lanes that he can play around. And in late game fights, I think he's very difficult to execute because he is single target. He has the ultimate to knock people back and perhaps soak up a lot of damage. But Broxah has utility in what his ultimate does by reducing the damage of a frontline tank. And now Cap's looking for a gank up top, but will immediately get zoned away by Maxwell.
That's also a difficulty for Maxwell, because how do you catch on to someone if they can just jump away?
It's true.
I mean, I think late game, his job is almost just to buy time. Reckless can't kill him instantly, right?
True.
The ulti is useful there, but as you guys highlighted, that's about it. Like, it's hard for him otherwise if he doesn't do a lot here in the first few minutes of the game, but I still think for him, like right now, he's in an okay spot. He's able to put pressure with the rest of the team, and they're going for Soaz.
Unstoppable Onslaught used to catch Soaz out. There's a Decimating Smash as well. Alfari tanking up the tower. Soaz will use the Twisted Advance to survive for a moment more, but Misfits get the kill in the top lane, looking for the tower as well. Senkirk's gonna dodge away from Caps, who can continue to chase in. There's the Wild Growth, dodges the Ethereal Chains. Fancy feet from the Misfits mid laner.
Good sidestep there from Senkirk's. Misfits gain themselves another advantage. 800 gold lead now in their back pocket as they're sieging up top. Hylissang gonna face, does face check, but he also sidesteps the Q from Hylissang. This will be another tower going in favor of Misfits.
And good stuff all around for Misfits. 12 minutes in, they're gonna have a 2,000 gold lead after this tower falls, or 1,200 or so. They're close enough. It's only about 800 gold difference between the two, and they're gonna go for the Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, this play we mentioned before, after winning that bot lane, you know, once Rift Herald spawn, you can push in, you can then swap the top side and secure multiple objectives. Fnatic not around yet to fight, they're trying.
Oh, he goes in.
Knock back from Hylissang.
Does have
Still
flash.
running away. Broxah puts down the pillar to keep them safe. Caps jumping in here. Rift Herald still quite low, down to 3,000. Fnatic want the fight. Misfits, 5-man strong. Reckless on his way as well. There goes the Rift Herald, secured. Broxah in the back of the pit, thing on the hunt used. Caps jumps in, Maxwell solo, ignited, jumps away. Broxah still in the midst of it all, is so low. And Hylissang's doing a lot of work. He's on Senkirk's. Caps has the flank here as well. Mickey dead. That's 1-for-1 trade, but Caps got a double.
Everyone's just dying.
Summer is still alive in the midst of this all. Reckless there as well. Alfari running forward. Fnatic have won the fight in the end.
Ends up being 3 for 2 in the favor of Fnatic. The Rift Herald does go down in favor of Misfits, but that was quite the skirmish. Many Misfits members stuck in the middle of the pit, and Caps crucially picks up 2 extra kills.
Oh, they're trying again. Maxlore should be spotted moving around here. Let's see what happens again. I thought Fnatic was just gonna give this one up, but they actually call for the fight. Hylissang is low, but he has ulti. And the first start is not great. Broxah flashing back into the pit, can't really get out, but he's buying time. And now so much damage being dealt back and forth here in the pit. Maxwell is instantly gone. And with Caps just sitting on the other side, because he has mobility, he can get back in. Maxwell can't. And that suddenly gives a small numbers advantage for Fnatic.
Yeah, and then Reckless, he wasn't even touched in that fight. These are very much front to back, and because of Cap's mobility, as you highlighted, Deficio, it's very easy for him to get to the back, which was a big part of Fnatic's success. So kills are pretty even right now. Maxwell was fortunate to not die, but how can Misfits look to utilize this Rift Herald they've just picked up?
See, mid lane is the last outer turret standing for them to take down. Sadly now, Reckless is in the mid lane, just instantly killing the wave, so I guess a little bit harder to do. Now it is on Senkirk's as well, so it's most likely there we're going to see it placed. Once you get a push on top side from Tristana, she can go mid lane, then you can place the Rift Herald and you can get a bunch of damage on the turret. For now, Sama is playing the split push game.
That he is. Fnatic actually in a very good spot after that last fight. You've got Storm Razor completed on Reckless. You've got the Luden's Echo on Caps, who's now 3-1-1 on Little Blanc, a 20 CS advantage for him as well.
I also think though on the side of Misfits, the fact that it's Tristana getting the kills puts them in a good spot. Because you can see with Ansama quickly getting to his second item. When we know we're gonna get Ardent Sensor from the mid laner, it's all about the Tristana.
Reckless, though, ahead in levels, 103 himself, equal in terms of the items too. So he's not in a terrible spot as Maxlore doesn't get engaged on, but a bit of a skirmish around the red.
Maxwell jumps in onto Hylissang. He'll get onto the back line. Crescent guard put up by Maxwell, trying to keep his back line safe. Nature's Grass used as well in the midst of it all. Fnatic trying to fight in the jungle. Misfits get one. Caps jumps in. He takes down the Braum. But it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
Another close fight here between the teams. Capron was there. He was not there instantly. He had to come in later. Secure the kill, but I feel like these teams can fight over anything. It's like, that's a red buff. 5 versus 5 team fight. Let's go. Oh, he stopped it with the pillar.
Stops it. That could be a game-changing moment for Fnatic.
Really crucial interrupt there from the side of Fnatic. Because Misfits, they lose all their pressure mid now. Oh, Alfari backing on a ward. Will get locked up by Caps, but he is a tanky sound. Rushing that Abyssal Mask. Won't end up taking that much damage. Things going pretty well, though, for Fnatic. Caps doing so much work on this LeBlanc.
Just constantly in the right position, constantly finding flanks that he needs for Fnatic. 15 minutes in the game, basically even. 600 gold between the two teams. 2 towers to 0 in favor of Misfits and an Inferno Drake on the cards.
Yeah, and Fnatic stopping the Rift Hell, then also actually stopping some recalls after, meant that Misfits are very slow now on recalling and going back, spending their gold and returning to the map. So that gives suddenly the Inferno Drake over to Fnatic uncontested. That is now certainly a big win. Interrupt the Rift Hell, get Infernal Drake. I don't think you can ask for much more if you are Fnatic after a very even fight up here near Red buff.
Yeah, and Misfits, they just want to contest. They know that the Scion has teleport to get involved in the fight. And things are looking pretty good because Maxwell's just soaking up a lot of damage. Braum is mitigating a lot too, but then Captain comes from the flank. But we've got another fight in mid.
Fight happening in the mid lane as Hylissang was the one to get caught out. Decimating Smash, not quite enough. The moment that Senkox snipes him in the final seconds. And now Misfits can push for this mid lane tower.
The wave is gone. Caps is moving from the bottom lane. All of Misfits starts walking away. Still ulti from Senkox to save whoever Caps jumps onto with the LeBlanc. And Hansama, he's feeling good, man.
3-1 and 2 on the AD carry right now. Level 9 is Caps. Level 11 on the LeBlanc. Means you do have 2 points in your ultimate. I believe he has the Luden's Echo and Sorcerer's Boots completed as well. So he's really strong at this point in the game. This is where you have to be most afraid because there's very little magic resistance on the side of Misfits outside of a couple of Merc Treads here and there. And obviously Alfari going full tank. But it does mean that if Caps can get onto that backline, those squishy carries are very susceptible.
Mickey and Hansama looking for the catch here if they can find it. Hylissang there as well, though. They now know that Caps is there. They'll spot out the cow as well.
Yep.
And immediately say, oh, don't want any of that beef. Just going to back away in the top lane.
But it's so interesting we're getting a game now where the first 10 minutes we didn't just have all-out fighting. It was actually a little bit slower. There's a lot of focus around Hansama moving around the map, getting turrets
But
down.
between 10 and 20...
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Then we've been getting team fights around anything. It doesn't even matter what it is. They can just fight each other. Obviously, on the side of Reckless, you want more items, but it's kind of the same deal with Hansama. Yet, because his team is ready to fight with him, because they have a Lulu plus Sinjao combination, they can actually force them. And they're slightly ahead in gold this one, but they lost that Infernal Drake, which would really hurt them if we go full late game.
It does feel a little bit like Fnatic have finally heeded our advice and calmed down just a little bit. They've accepted that you can't find every single skirmish, you can't take every single fight, and they've just slowed the game down a bit. They say, we'll scale up with our Sivir, LeBlanc is ahead, she's going to do a huge amount of damage as well, and we're happy just to have a little bit more of a calm mid-game and then go for those late-game fights.
And I think it's important to note with regards to LeBlanc, often when you think about LeBlanc, you kind of say she falls off late game in the sense that she becomes hard to play in team fights because she is single target, she has windows with which you can quickly punish her, but because of her great mobility, once she gets a lot of AP, she becomes this poke champion in the late game where you just look for flanks, you look to just chip targets out, and you kind of force a health advantage in your favor, and that's when you use the Sivir to then force the fight where you can then pick up some late game wins.
And I think also now that it's no longer the original reworked LeBlanc, where you had to wait to actually get damage from your passive. Let's see what happens here.
So as LeBlanc is probably on the hunt as well, but there's the knockup chain. And the tree has been felled in the jungle.
Bit of deforestation happened this year.
They keep doing it, man. They actually keep looking for picks, and they find one right here. Reckless in the mid lane. Take quite some damage from Senkox. There seems to be another fight.
And someone jumps away from Caps down towards the bottom side as well. You can see that Misfits want to do something now. They have the advantage. Caps jumps in onto Hansama, but the concussive blows. They're just looking for the stun lock. Hansama ignited. He's done!
That definitely sucks.
Caps
2 versus 1.
collapse in the 2v1. A double.
Oh,
and now Maxwell's caught underneath the tower as well. Hylissang knocked him back. One more shot would be enough. Maxwell survives for the moment. Teleport coming in as well. A triple kill to Caps. Fnatic find the perfect fight, and once again, it's Caps that comes up huge.
And this is what I wanted to say just before we got the fight around LeBlanc. Now she's back to the old one. You don't have to wait for your passive anymore to get the full amount of damage. You have to like delay your abilities by just doing your W into your ulti combination to get that extra damage from the new distortion. You can just burst down so quickly, and that's one of the reasons why she's in the late game still a threat. Like, you gotta play correctly, as Vedis is highlighting. It is very difficult, but if you get the opening and you can actually do that combination, the burst damage of this WR is so insane.
So let's have a look at how this 2 versus 1 happened. Hansama already used his jump over the wall, and here Mickey Hans think they're pretty safe. How
There it
the
is.
exhaust comes down extremely quickly, even still the damage comes through. And the Ignite just ends up finishing him off, along with a bit of extra cannon minion damage. Brox is there to assist, but meanwhile, Misfits go for a dive in the mid lane. Hylissang then flashes over the wall to lock Maxwell underneath the tower. And Misfits, they tried to create a play on 2 sides of the map, and Fnatic end up countering both.
And Soa's taking full credit here. It was
Yep.
my TP, guys. I joined, I created, a little moment of pressure right here. But he was dead. That's why Misfits were like, hey, we can fight. We have 4 versus 5 on the map. We can get a kill bot lane and a kill mid lane, and then we take down the last outer turret. Everything is in your favor. But then Caps makes a play, and he's 7-1 now on this LeBlanc.
In such a strong position, basically can burst down Hansama whenever he finds him. There's the Unbreakable for Mickey to keep him alive. Would like to see Hansama go towards something like a Hex Drinker just for a little bit of magic resist to try and deal with Caps, because Caps can get on that backline so easily.
I feel like with this comp, you have to get your IH and just rely on Syncooks to keep you alive, because you are the main damage dealer for Misfits. If you don't do that and the animated carry will actually do it, the damage output is just so different.
Engage onto Reckless in the mid lane. Alfari on the chase, but on the hunt gets him away. Still that mid lane tower persists for Fnatic, and still Misfits persist in trying to find these fights. Soaz with the twisted advance, they caught out Alfari, turning it back around though. Soaz has to flash away, he's down to half HP. Misfits, just they can't quite eke out that next bit of damage they need.
Yeah, and whenever they try, Caps is also in the way, and now they have to constantly be afraid of where the LeBlanc is on the map.
Look at the sideways though. Misfits have bot pushed up and top pushed up. No teleport is available for Soaz, so Misfits can just continue pressure in mid. Caps just used
Knocked up with a 3-talent strike. Crescent Guard used as well. Caps will survive for the moment, but the tower will not. Misfits get what they need out of this mid lane. And with Baron on the cards, maybe they can turn back towards getting vision control around there.
Well, they keep trying to play aggressive here, like it from Misfits. Even if you give a bunch of kills over, they only need to be afraid of LeBlanc. Everyone else, they can easily fight against. And that's what they know. If they get Caps low in a fight, Fnatic can't do a whole lot.
Well, there is still a level 12 Sliver with 2 items.
Let's get the IH, and then you can be afraid of her. But for
You
now,
can
you're
go with
fine.
7 kills and then worry about the rest of the team, Betty.
I mean, I think it's really important to remember about LeBlanc, though, is once her rotation is down, it's still a relatively long cooldown. That ulti is at like level 2, still about 20 seconds. So there are windows that you just have to play around. And if you're Misfits, you just have to show respect towards Caps. And if he makes a mistake, that's when you can look to pounce.
Medic, you're getting what you want. The Hex Stringer is right there for Hansama. He values actually trying to stay alive through a full combo of Caps. Let's see if it's enough and if it's going to hurt him in terms of the damage output in the following fight. For now, it's good, seeing as there is no IH on the side of Reckless.
23 minutes in. Basically, totally, perfectly even on gold here. Caps jumping in, trying to clear vision around the Baron. You can see both teams know that they want to play around that. No teleport on Soaz means that he's joining up with Fnatic, whereas Alfari has a TP of his own. Mickey was standing on a ward here. There's still a tower in the top lane. Chains lands onto Hansama, but he's safe for the moment. 2 items finished on Caps, building up towards that third as well with the needlessly large rod. Fnatic have control of the river for the moment. 1 game away from defending their championship in Madrid.
Can Misfits get a fight right now before IH is completed with Ardent Sensor on the side of Syncooks to buff up Hansama even more, and then Maxwell actually driving forward, and he's also dealing insane damage right now with Trinity Force.
Maxwell takes a big chunk of HP as he jumps
Insane
into
was an
Hylissang.
overstate.
Caps is up here on a control ward. Bot lane has been pushed in. Now Misfits can look to force a fight. They have the rotation from Alfari first. Caps jumps forward, Syncooks has to bot the wild gun. Caps jumps all the way back. Here's the unstoppable onslaught. Bending around, Alfari will not find a connection. Caps can jump in once again.
It's going in.
Alfari gets the blast going to safety. Mickey clearing out wards, but has to back away because facing up against those chains is too darn difficult. Misfits fighting for their lives at the moment, fighting for their position in finals up against Schalke in just a week's time.
We really need to get a locket out from someone in Misfits. Having that extra bit of magic resistance atop with the shield will really mitigate a lot of the burst coming out from Caps. Banshees would also be a valuable purchase to try and mitigate some of that burst. Right now, this is entirely the Cap show. Has picked himself up the needlessly large rod, working towards the death cap. And once he's got that, the one-shot capabilities become truly terrifying.
That's kind of thing, like by him just being so annoying, it stops Misfits from actually setting up Baron properly or stops Misfits from hard engaging somewhere because they're constantly dealing with this LeBlanc jumping in and out. It is truly a one-man army for now. Once we get to the late game team fights, everyone else on Fnatic can suddenly actually do something against Misfits.
Tension starts to build between the two teams. The gold is dead even. Remember that Fnatic are at match point. If you've only just joined us, you've missed out on quite the series so far.
Oh, you got to go back.
So many kills.
Just watch it from the start. Just watch it from the start.
And
we won't spoil it for you.
Baron is right now being set up from the side of Fnatic. They lead in kills, Fnatic slightly ahead in gold. Third item near completion for Hans Sama. Same for Reckless though.
I want to come back to the win conditions we discussed in Picks and Bans. We said Misfits put all their eggs in the Hans Sama basket, as you say, building up towards that third item now. Fnatic had Caps in the early game and then Reckless as we started to scale up. At this point in the game, who is in the stronger position?
Fnatic. They have a fed LeBlanc, which makes it really hard for Misfits to do anything now.
Caps jumps in with a flash. Mickey with the exhaust right at the right moment now. Caps,
this is perfect.
not in the best of spots. Hans Sama, you need to get in there. You need to. Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. Caps stunned underneath the tower. Glacial Fissure comes out as well. Caps will pay for this with his life. Shut down. That's a big bounty in the pocket of Maxlaw.
So good from Maxlaw. Problem is, it wasn't your AD carry getting it.
Yep.
So right now, Sama is dead. Misfits, do they want to try and force anything else here? They're looking for it.
Here we go. The fight begins. Engaged from Hylissang. So is there in the front line. Alfari in the midst of it all. Maxwell as well. The knock up onto Hylissang. It's a double. Reckless in the backline. Still alive though. He flashes away. And now he can unleash hell on this Sivir. That's what he is there for. Fnatic find the perfect fight. They get one. It's a 2-for-1 exchange. Roxette running towards Mickey and Sankuk's here, but they'll stay alive for the moment.
And Misfits took this fight without Hans Sama. He was already dead. They said, you know what, it doesn't matter. Caps is also dead on the other side. It's now Maxlaw we buff. With the Trinity Force, he can kill the backline, but sadly for him, he couldn't stick to the target. And when Reckless flashed away, they could actually turn the damage around and kill Maxlaw instead.
Exactly that, Deficio. The focus was if we kill Reckless, we can win the fight, but they couldn't kill him fast enough. And keep your eyes on Maxlaw after we see this initial pick from Caps. So, the ward is spotted. There's Caps jumping over, uses both his dashes, even flashes over the wall. The exhaust comes through to avoid getting the kill, and then he thinks, okay, if I can just land the passive stun, oh, too late, gets the kill. Caps now has nothing. He could have jumped back, decides not to do it, gets CC'd underneath, and then this is where Maxlaw gets the kill. Great, easy pickup, and this is where the fight starts.
Yeah, now to make the call, hey, Maxlaw, you're strong. You're Sinchao. You can kill these guys. There's no IH on Reckless. They will not win the fight, but we can see how hard it is for him to get to Reckless. They're outranged at the moment, and when he gets the dash onto him, Reckless can flash away, and now no one can reach the AD carry, and eventually you take down the Bruisers, and Fnatic win the fight. They now have the late game items on the Sivir, and they still have the Fed Tristana, the Fed LeBlanc on the other side. And Hans Sama, he went for the more defensive route. He said, I need this to try and stay alive against Caps. He still died, and now he does not have an IH. He's pretty far away from it. On the other side, it's right there for Sivir.
IH finished Void Staff as well for Caps, so any magic resist you're getting is just being totally removed by that LeBlanc. You have to feel that these fights just come down to whether or not Caps kills Hans Sama, because if he does, it's won. It's Fnatic's game. Happened in the last game. Could well be the deciding moment of this game once again. Second Infernal Drake for Fnatic. 300, 400 gold between the two teams. Basically, a hair's breadth separates these two titans of the EU LCS.
Yeah, and this game has been a lot more like how Fnatic wants to play with Reckless. While we did have the big fights after 10 minutes, it was a slower start to the game. Misfits going with the Lulu plus Tristana is telling us a lot more about, you know, have a Hans Sama in the late game be a big threat. But they tried to force with Sin Xiao. It was actually a nice adaptation in the draft. worked somewhat in the game, but not enough. They're not far enough ahead for us to say that this draft has fully succeeded.
And the problem is the gold at the top of your screens is slightly a misrepresentative of how much in favor the game currently is to Fnatic, because all the gold is on Caps and Reckless for Fnatic, whereas for Misfits, it's all sitting on Max Law. And in these late game fights, he's going to struggle to have an impact, and a lot of it is going to come down to Hans Sama. Can Misfits keep him alive? Can the Lulu do what it's designed to do and enable Hans Sama to be that Jugger AD carry that carries late game fights?
Juggertrist is the intention. Caps jumps in once again. You can see Mickey's just sitting by his AD carry, entirely trying to keep him safe. Fnatic 5 members strong up towards the top side. 2 players from Misfits are in the mid lane. Nature's Grass comes out. They need to back away. You have to get out of here. Alfari caught up, knocked up with the pillar as well. There's the Randuin's Omen. He is Hylissang in the back line. Alfari's dead. Just your tank. And now the next target is Mickey. He has to jump away. How long will he be able to survive for? Not long. Caps jumps in, the Wild Growth used on the support.
The big front line is now unavailable for Misfits, though, and Fnatic secure themselves another kill. They have full control around the Baron area and have mounted a small 1,000 gold lead. But things just look worse and worse for Misfits. Fnatic in a prime position to secure themselves another spot in another final.
Still looking at Hans Sama and his items right now. He's trying to stack up enough gold to get the eye edge and just sit on the Hexdringer, not fully upgraded. This is a fight from before, though, as you'll see on the minimap. Senkux and Maxwell are not there. They're actually right now the 2 members that you want in your fight, because otherwise you do not have any way of keeping anyone alive or kill anyone on the side of Fnatic.
And Exhaust was used in that fight, which is going to be crucial as the next fight begins. Look at all the damage that Reckless is outputting now. Level 16 on the Sivir to the 14 of Hans Sama. Fnatic, so much control of the game right now.
31 minutes in and we're still waiting for Hans Sama's crits to start landing with the eye edge. He has currently 2,300 gold. So again, as we can clearly see, he's screaming, guys, please wait. Do not force a fight right now. I need this item before I can do anything. But Fnatic, they know this, and they have full control of the Baron. They currently have the setup they want.
And whenever you get into this situation against Fnatic, you have to remember how every single one of their players is impeccable. Caps gets his 10th kill of the game, and Fnatic are not done. Soaz going for the dive, Mickey going back to the fountain, followed by Alfari. Misfits are routed in the mid lane, and Fnatic are going for the base.
And this mid lane performance is insane. Caps keeps Fnatic alive in game 3 with the Vayne play. And in game 4, when the team is trying to stall, he's the one picking up kills. He's the one stopping Misfits from pushing. What a performance.
All it takes is one moment for Fnatic to lock you out of the game, and they're gonna lock you back in the fountain as well. Maxwell running for his life, Fnatic running for the Nexus. They'll take it down, and the reigning champions will defend their title in Madrid.
This whole series can be summed up in a single word.